recording.
So aren't these commands, capitalized? How do I word this? Case sensitive, thank you.
Nope. The only thing case sensitive in Windows is passwords. That's it. Things are display sensitive. So for instance, this says documents with a capital D. Well, Windows doesn't care if you type in lowercase d and then do everything in uppercase or whatever. It just displays it this way because that's the way you typed it in, but it's not case sensitive. So if I do one of our first commands, we need to learn if the command line interface is dir, which means we're looking at the directory. There it is. There are all of our folders. We think of them as folders. You can think of them as directories. It's the same thing. It's a locations place. Now notice download documents, for example, has a capital D. If I want to go to that folder and navigate, I don't need that anymore. Get out of the way. There. If I want to navigate at the command prompt to another folder, I do CD for change directory. And then I type in the name of the directory that I want to go to. Now in Linux, this would not work. In Windows, it will. Windows doesn't care about case. Oh, it's probably down here. I think my
Just full screen it. And then you can
There you
scroll, full screen it.
Okay, so now I'm in the documents folder, but notice it worked fine. Linux is case sensitive with everything, and we'll get to Linux like at the end of the class, at the end of the semester. So far, so good?
Yep.
dir shows you what's in there. CD allows you to change to something else. Well, if we went, you can think of it as from going left to right, we commonly say going down, going up, even though it's left and right. So I went into documents. If I want to get out of documents, I do this. ... means go back. Now I'm back to the user folder. If I do CD ... again, I'm in the users folder. If I do a dir, I see there's nobody else in this computer but me. Public is sometimes used by programs to share information between users. It's not really a user that logs in. For instance, on my computer here, there's been several people that have logged into this computer that I'm sitting at. And if I changed level up, so users is the folder that contains all the user profiles, meaning if you've had more than one person log into your computer, it'll show all of their profile. Oh, well, that's right. I cleaned this out. Nobody's used this other than me since the beginning of the semester. Okay, that's why. Normally there's a couple other folders because other people will use this computer, but not in this case, because I cleaned everything out before the beginning of the semester. All right. So we have that. We can move around. Well, another thing that's handy to be able to do at the command prompt is copy files around. So let's try that. Before we can copy files, we need to make files. So let's change to user, and then let's change to documents. See how the command prompt keeps track of where we are and tells you what's going on? CLS clears the screen if you want people to see what's going on better. If we type in Notepad, which is just a little program built into Windows since like Windows whatever 1.0, that's designed for working with text files.
It opens up the notepad.
Yep, they're just a little slow on a virtual machine. But it opens up Notepad. So many of the programs that you click on, if you know the right thing to type in, you can type it in there and start it. Is that useful? Not particularly. But it's something to know. Oh, it was done. It's done. It's done. Let's get rid of you. All right, so we're going to type in something. So what we're doing is the command line version of what you might do in File Explorer. And this is kind of the ABCs and training wheels for this sort of thing. So it says we're going to type in something. It automatically took the name. I'm going to make this shorter because I don't want to have to type in this whole thing. So I'm just going to call it Doc1. We put something in the file. We're now going to do, somebody mentioned this the other day. There are a lot of shortcut keys for getting things done. One of them is if you hold down the Alt key and type F4, it'll close whatever current window is open. So there's lots of little keys like that that do things. If we do dir, ooh, look at there. There's our 32-byte file. Not very big. Text files just have text in them. They're not very big. Now, what if we want to copy this to a different folder? Well, we need a different folder to begin with. So let's make a folder or a directory, which that's kind of intuitive, mkdir. That sounds right, doesn't it? Make a directory. Now this command has what's called an argument, meaning we would type in something different after the command to change how it works. So I can't just type in mkdir because I have to put in what's the name of the directory I want to make. So I'm going to make a build directory. Now it has the argument that's needed. Argument meaning it's telling the command what to do. Like Notepad, we didn't have an argument. dir, we didn't have an argument. They work just fine. Some require extra information for them to do their task. And then dir, and look at there, we have a file and we have a folder. Now, one of the things that we want to go through while we're working with command stuff is a concept called the path. That's what we call it in computer stuff. So the path to this folder is C:\users\user\documents. That's called an absolute path, meaning I'm starting from the very beginning and telling you every folder in between where I am and the start of the drive. In Windows, each drive, the beginning of each drive has a letter. In Linux, it just has a slash. Well, we'll get to that at the end of the semester. So this is the entire path. So one way to get to Bill is to do cd C:\users\user\documents. Ooh, notice I didn't type in much of that. Does anybody know what I was doing? The name for it? Somebody probably does.
With this year.
What's that called? What? Tab completion. Works in Linux and Windows. So you can type in CD, you have to type that in. Well, you can't do that. But if I type in US, there's probably not another folder on my system that has US at the beginning. If I press tab, Windows will fill it in based on looking at the file system. So I don't have to type in users. If I type in slash and I type in US, it fills in user for me. If I typed in DO, it does documents and I can keep going through all the Ds until I find the right one. As I tab, I find, oh, that's the one I want. Then I stop. It saves typing time. And sometimes you have big, long file names and you don't want to have to type in the whole thing. So you can use tab completion to help you get done faster. /B, Bill. So I typed about what, 7, 8, 10 characters in there. So this is an absolute path, meaning I've said everything from the beginning to the end where I want to go. So I press enter, I end up in the Bill folder. That's an absolute path. Now, if I change back up with my little dots, and I want to go to the Bill folder because it's right next door, like it's like if Josiah's house is right next door to mine, I can just pop over to his house and, get supper every night. I don't know how good a cook he is, but I just have to say next door. I don't have to say, well, the United States, no, North America, the United States, the state of Scotts Bluff, this street, this address. I just have to say that address because he's right next to me and I can see the house. That's called a relative path. Because relative to my location, I can get there. I can go up or down, or I can go down relative to where I am. Depends on what you're doing, which is the handiest. Anyway, let's move back. Whoops. Now another command. We're going to make a copy of doc1.txt and place that copy into the bill folder. And the copy command is, guess what it is? It's too easy to guess. The copy command is,
Copy.
yes, it is actually. Copy, that's literally what the command is. Copy allows us to copy a file from one place to another. Well, we have to have two things. We have to have the source, meaning what we're going to copy, and we have to have where we want the copy to go. So we have to have two arguments or parameters. So I'm going to type in do, see how I typed in do and I pressed tab and it automatically picked up the name of the file. Space, what's our destination? Bill. So I can copy it using a relative path because it's right next door. If you did this in Linux, you'd have to have a file called Bill, but in Windows, it'll be fine. One file copied. How do we know if it's there? We can use the relative path to do dir Bill. There it is. Oh, I didn't do that right, did I? Yeah, there it is. I did do it right. So I can do dir without an argument, or I can do dir and say what I want to look in. I want to look in the Bill folder, and there it is. It says C:\users user document Bill, and it shows that that file is also in there. So when I typed in the dir and I said Bill, what type of path did I use? Relative or absolute? Everybody agree that it's absolute? Does anybody think it's a relative path?
Didn't say it from start to beginning.
If I don't have the entire thing, this is an absolute path.
Yeah.
Because I could have a folder here called Bill. I could have a folder here called Bill. Relative means right next to where I am, there's a folder named Bill. If I do absolute, well, there can only be one folder named Bill inside of documents, inside of user, inside of users, inside of C. That means absolutely that's where it is. So this is showing the absolute path, but I use the relative path to get there. How's that for filling your brain full of stuff? Well, I'm going to change to that folder using well, how am I going to change to the folder? Using which one? Relative, absolute?
Relative.
Relative. If you're going to guess, say it with confidence. It's like the other day I was giving Ignacio a hard time. I don't remember what it was, but I said it with confidence and he was like, oh yeah. And then I started laughing and Owen started laughing. Then he knew I was putting him on. All right, so I'm going to change to Bill. That's a relative path because I'm right next to it. I'm relatively close. And if I do a dir right here, I know that file is in there. Well, there's an important thing we need to do with files besides copying them, which is, I don't need this file anymore.
Deleting.
What do you suppose the delete command is?
DEL.
That's what it is. Yep, DEL. DEL is the delete command, and the delete command doesn't work without an argument. You have to say what you want to delete. So if we had a bunch of files in this folder, we don't want to delete them all, although this would do that. That would delete every file in there. Does anybody know what that is? It's asterisk dot asterisk. Does anybody know what the asterisk is when you're?
Whatever you want. Something like that.
Pretty much, it's everything. It means everything. So I don't care what the first half of the file name is. I don't care what the last half is. I want to delete everything. So the asterisks I call a wild card. They substitute for anything. It's like when you're playing cards. That's why they call it a wild card. All files in Windows, unless you name them weird, typically have a period. And this part is called the file extension. Those characters after the dot tell Windows what kind of program to use to open it. So when you're double clicking on things in your file manager, like if I go up here to my documents and, oh, okay, there's my bill folder, right? If I double click on this, Windows knows to use Notepad because the Notepad program is associated with that file extension. And the reason I can see the file extension is because I turned on that view. So if I go to view, show, I have, oh,
File
no.
name extensions.
Oh, it doesn't have file name extensions turned on. Let's turn it on. Oh, that just means it shows it here. Okay.
Yeah.
But it always shows up the command prompt. So this tells if that was docx, that's Word. What is .py? What kind of file is that? Some of you will know. Python. So that's how Windows knows it's a Python file. It also helps you to identify the type of file. So it's associated with that. And sometimes Windows will get confused and you double click on something and it doesn't open it with the right program. That means the association has gotten mucked up. Well, we don't want to delete everything, although we could, even though there's only one file. Let's just delete that specific file. Now, there we go. Am I going to delete just one file?
No.
Yeah, I've specified one specific file. Now, the wildcards can be used in a couple different ways. I could do doc1.star, wherever my star is, there it is. That means I don't care what the extension is, but the first part has to be doc1.
So it deletes everything with doc1.
Excuse me?
So it deletes everything that has doc1 as the file name.
And I don't care what the extension is.
Yeah, so anything that makes names doc1,
If I do this and put the star over here,
then all TXT
everything
files.
that has a TXT extension, but everything else gets left alone. You can also use this for copying. If I did COPY star.txt, I'd copy all the text files. So star is a wild card, which means you can do one operation on multiple things.
Neat.
So no matter which of the last three things I used, am I going to delete just a single file? Yeah, because there's only one file in there.
Yeah.
That's all there is. There it is. It's gone. It didn't even warn me, did it?
No.
Oof.
You could do slot E to let it ask you.
Mhm. That's good. How did you find that out?
I did the lab, one of the labs.
Oh.
last time.
You did the homework. I was thinking you did this. So that brings up the help for the stuff. Yeah, doing homework is helpful, isn't it?
Yeah.
So dir/?? Brings up the help system for each command. And then press any key to continue. There's the one she was talking about. No. Oh, that's DAR. I did the wrong one. It's DEL, isn't it? There it is. Prompts for confirmation. You'd think that'd be the default, wouldn't you? You know, wouldn't you think? So people don't accidentally delete things. So if you do delete DEL star.star, you wipe out everything in that folder. Don't you think you want to at least think about it for a second? I don't know. That's how Microsoft did it. So DEL star.star in your documents folder would wreak havoc, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
There's also commands where you can wipe out the folder and everything in it too, but we're not going to get that dangerous today. There is no recycle bin for the command prompt. So that's why you always make sure you have backups, have extra copies, which I got on that one. I said, can I borrow your drive for a, show and tell? I just want to show this class what it looks like. It says, well, don't delete anything. So what? You don't have backups? Yeah. Questions? one of the, all right, we're gonna do